Yeah, we are now sponsored by Game Up. Happy to have them with the podcast. They make a thirst quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes. So it's a hard hydration drink. They have 4 great flavors currently: fruit punch, orange, lemon lime, and grape.
That's right. And only 110 calories per can, low carb. So get out there and get some Game Up. Let's talk a little bit of boxing. All right, a little boxing news. We had a big fight over the weekend with Joshua and Francis. But before we talk about that, let's talk about this announcement. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, 57 years old now, though. 58. What do you think, Chevy? What about this?
First of all, I did not believe that this was real when the news came out. I wish it wasn't real. I mean, so shout out to Jake. I keep saying this. I'm not a big fan of him, but it is impressive what he's doing, just making money off
Yeah.
fighting all these
Netflix,
guys.
by
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. That'll be a big thing for Netflix. I know they wanted to break into the live sports to justify their like $40 a month or whatever they're charging now. But I just, it's hard to tell how this fight is going to go because we don't know what we're going to get from Mike Tyson. Obviously, he hasn't fought in 20 years.
Yeah,
I
he had
don't
this
count the.
about a year or two ago, right?
Yeah, I don't count that. That was a fake fight. So is this going to be a real fight? I don't think that Jake does those fake fights. I think that they're going to have a real fight. The thing with Tyson is like you see these videos, and I think they're a couple years old, but not so old now, of him hitting pads and he looks terrifying as ever.
Yeah.
But then you also see him like walking around with a walking stick, like he can barely move around, and he's like some weird shaman now, like just does a bunch of mushrooms and talks about philosophy, which I love all that, but does he still have that desire to be a fighter the way that he used to be, because that's a different person. And if he does have that and he can channel that, he's going to destroy Jake Paul so bad, like life changing. I don't care if he's twice his age. He'll take his head right off. The thing is we just don't know what we're going to get.
I need to see what they both look like going into this before I make a prediction.
I think Jake is bigger, like physically larger than, especially at this point, Tyson.
Jake Paul, I don't know. What has his fights been at? His weight. I thought he's been fighting like
he's fought all over, I think.
That's
From 170 to I think his most recent one was 200 pounds or something, or 195 or something like that.
Yeah, it's a freak show. It's going to be on Netflix, though. They're in a stadium, I think, in Arlington. I imagine he'll do some big business and he'll catch names. And this is probably what Jake Paul wants. In his mind, he's probably setting himself up for an easy victory because Tyson is old and he hasn't been there. But yeah, I don't know what to think, man. I could see anything happening here. I could see anyone getting brutally knocked out because it is almost a 60-year-old man. But that almost 60-year-old man is Mike Tyson. So yeah. It's fucking and Jake Paul has put on some solid performance as a boxer. But it's not like you would say Jake Paul is a representation of boxing. He is boxing. Right?
He's never be a former world champion in boxing, though. Yeah. This is a different level.
Now, that being said, it's hard to say what you're going to get with these crossovers. We just had it this weekend. Anthony Joshua and Francis. We picked Francis. We were picking with our hearts a bit, but part of that also was the performance Francis put on against Tyson Fury was like not anything we'd seen. We thought what happened this weekend with Joshua, we expected Fury to do that to Francis, but it didn't happen that way. Instead, they go all 10 rounds, and Francis knocks him down, looks the aggressor. And I said on this last week, we don't want to talk about it, but maybe Tyson Fury did take him lightly, and maybe that we're going to find out. We don't know because it's all uncharted territory. I'm going to say it's a little bit of both. I'm going to say Fury took him a little lightly, but also I'm going to say stylistically, Ngannou was an unseen thing in boxing. And it was awkward, and Fury probably didn't know how to deal with that, and he was caught off guard in that way as well. Joshua had plenty; he got to watch him, and it looked like he knew what he was expecting for Francis, and he didn't have any trouble putting him away or getting it done. And Francis even made that switch up and went to southpaw.
That was the mistake. Yeah,
huge mistake, and it just shows that there was a lack of experience. And so it's just, you're never going to know what you're going to get with these cross fights. And I don't know. I'm kind of done with them, honestly, at this point. I mean, good on Jake Paul. And now that it's on Netflix, I may watch it, because Like,
I
what the
bet
heck?
it'll be a pay-per-view on Netflix, though. The way that ESPN Plus, you have to have the
Have they said that?
subscription.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're right, but
I don't think they've said that yet, but I assume. Also, with it being on Netflix
yeah.
and Mike Tyson being on the card, the undercard of this may be very good. There could be some good matchups on there, so
Yeah.
might be worth watching for
It would be
those.
interesting to see how they operate this as a runtime. Are we just going to get this fight on Netflix? Like, you know what I mean? Like they're going to show that, or maybe they're going to do a couple fights. I don't think something tells me it's not going to be a traditional long card where we get 5 or 6 matches like early.
12 hours, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I just don't for some reason. I don't think Netflix would operate that way. So we'll see what happens.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com.